We're getting into a water conversation this hour, and we just want to say thank and welcome once again. Engineer Joseph Kamau is the CEO of the Athi Water World Development Agency. Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you.
You're in the hot seat of the Situation Room. Water is a hot topic right about now. There's a lot of it falling from the sky, and maybe not enough of it in our pipes. But we'll be getting into that conversation before things get hot.
Yes.
CT is going to welcome you with today's proverb. You'll tell us what you think about it. It's an African proverb, and then how you would translate it or how it relates to you. Is that all right?
Yes, that's fine.
Super.
CT.
Yes.
Over to you, sir.
Simple proverb from the People's Republic of Mozambique. A reflection cannot see itself.
Well, a reflection is a shadow, so definitely it's not live, so it can't see itself. So
it's inanimate. Yes.
It's inanimate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what do you think that means?
What do you think it means here?
I think what it means is that what you do. There are some things that you cannot see, and they will reflect. Other people may be seeing them.
Yeah. Well, yes. You know, one of the beautiful things about giving your opinion on a proverb, it's how it relates to you. So this isn't one of these Kenyan exams where there's right and wrong.
Yes.
How the proverb touches you and how you understand it. That is what is important.
Indeed.
Yes.
So 1,000 points. Do with them as you wish.
Yes.
This morning. So let's start off this conversation because water is an issue. However, we want to look at it, and I guess we want to start off with this organization that you head, being the Athi Water Works Development Agency. What does this agency do? When we hear Athi Water, we just think, okay, east of Nairobi, and it's those folks who are east of Nairobi who are going to benefit from this organization. So, before we get into that, please do tell us, what does the agency do and what jurisdiction?
Let me first correct, it doesn't mean east of Nairobi at the river. It means Athi Waterworks Development Agency, and why it's called Athi is that the institution covers the upper Athi Basin. That is the county of Nairobi, Nairobi City, the great county of Kiambu, and the great county of Murang'a.
Why didn't you say Nairobi, the great county of Nairobi?
Nairobi is a city. It's a great city, metropolis. So we cover the metropolitan region of Nairobi.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That doesn't include Machakos and Kajiado?
Machakos has another agency, but just because of how the metropolitan issues affect the neighboring towns, we work in collaboration and see how we can assist and work together so that services can be accorded to the people of Kajiado and Machakos in the neighboring areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Athi Waterworks Development Agency is responsible for development of water services infrastructure, and is also in charge of development of sanitation infrastructure and sewerage networks, and also wastewater treatment plants. And also presently we've been licensed to operate bulk water systems to serve the metropolitan regions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the supply of water is under your jurisdiction?
Yes.
The treatment and surety of making sure that the water that's provided is safe for use and consumption, does that come under you as well?
Right now it's under us, under the bulk operations.
Okay.
Yes.
And then also extension when it comes to now, because the areas that you speak of, apart from Nairobi, then are closet or dormitory counties of Nairobi within the metropolitan area. So then for developments that come up in these dormitory counties, is the agency then responsible for ensuring that those areas as well then get water?
Right now, we are doing last mile distribution networks in those areas. So we are responsible to ensure that water now reaches almost up to the domestic household.
Okay.
Yes, so we are doing last mile networks so that water can be near with the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get to who, in terms of numbers, actually does have water when they open their taps in their homes and not using boreholes, where does this water come from? What's the source?
Largely, water in this region comes from Aberdare catchment region. That is the main water sources for Nairobi and the neighboring counties. So we have sources such as they are all largely within the Aberdare forest catchment zone. We have Ruiru Dam, we have the Kikuyu Springs, we have Sasumwa Dam, Dakaine Dam, and of course the Northern Corrector Tunnel system and other community-based systems spread across the entire region. Yes, and they actually are able to generate water that serves the communities there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we look in terms of numbers, the population of folks who are resident in these three counties that you speak of, what would you say is the percentage of, let's just look at domestic now, not even industry, that when they open their tap, there is water coming out of the tap that comes directly from the provision of the agency distribution?
Nairobi's the access is distributed regionally. Nairobi has very high figures of about 85% water supply connections. Kiambu follows with about 70, and Murang'a is about 65% coverage. And as an agency, we are embarked on programs to ensure that our coverage in those regions extend upwards up to ranges of close to 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we look at Nairobi for a minute?
Yes.
If we looked at a couple of, maybe a decade ago, and maybe a little up onto where we are now, there are certain areas within Nairobi County that were notorious for not having supply of water. South C, Nairobi West, South B, some other parts, Embakasi, whereby boreholes, Eastleigh, boreholes became the order of the day. I think at some point even Eastleigh was said, now you cannot dig any more boreholes in this area because the table had been affected and there was just not enough room for any kind of other development because there were boreholes everywhere. That meant that the supply of water, piped water, then was an issue. That's why people had to dig boreholes.
Yeah.
Has that changed? And does this then include this? Is this included in this 85% for Nairobi, or has that issue changed? Also, we cannot leave out areas like Lavington, interestingly enough, or Kileleshwa, where people had to bring in water bowsers twice a week because there was no supply of water. Has that changed?
That has significantly changed for the better. Because you've reported about 10 years ago. We've done massive investment since then as a government. We've reinstated water production to this city to the range of about 560 million liters secured per day. So at least the situation has changed, and presently Athi Water has completed the development and implementation of the Northern Corrector system, which is to deliver a total of 140 million liters per day, plus also Karimeno Dam, which will also be producing and delivering to this region about 70 million liters of water daily. So the situation has changed. We've also within Nairobi implemented various distribution infrastructure improvements network to areas such as Embakasi. We are delivering to the Embakasi, Mehango, Utawala region a total of about 14 million liters daily. The infrastructure is in place.
already being delivered or waiting to deliver?
Already is being delivered to the other region of Nairobi South. The infrastructure exists to deliver to that region, all the way up to Karen and past Karen to Ogatarogai, about 14,000 cubic meters per day. And also within Ogatarogai, we shall be delivering 5 million liters daily. So the estates of South Sea, the network along Uhuru Highway has been improved with the construction of the expressway, and we hope that the situation should have improved by now. Yeah.
I want you to walk us through, please, this process. You say the catchment area we're speaking of gets its water from the Aberdares ecosystem.
Yes.
Okay. What comprises this ecosystem that you refer to as the Aberdares ecosystem?
Largely, the Aberdare is a crucial water tower in Kenya.
What does that mean?
It means that that is a conservation area where we can be able to because of the nature of the environment there. It's a forested area. It's
heavily forested.
It has water retaining capacity because of that, and that in its natural system and is a source of all these major rivers that flow eastwards of the catchment of that. Okay. That mountainous region. Right. Yeah.
How much water would you say is actually available in this particular catchment area?
Well, we've tapped most of it, but we anticipate that with adequate infrastructural development, we can get a total of 1.2 million cubic meters per day. Yeah, that is the ultimate.
Okay. Please translate cubic meters into liters for me. Liters, I was understanding.
It's about 1.2 billion liters
of water.
Yes.
That
every day.
Access every single day.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is the need that the citizenry of this particular country who benefit from this natural resource, what is the sum total of their need in terms of liters of water per day?
Presently, the estimated need is about 860 million
liters per day. So we have, in essence, more than enough water to meet the needs of the people in this catchment area.
But right now, if it's developed, it can, but the developed capacity only produces about 740 million liters.
Okay. So we are 60 million liters shy. You said 800, yes.
Oh, the capacity is 1.2 billion.
Yes.
The provision, the need is 1.2 billion. No, the capacity you said, as in it can produce 1.2 billion liters every day.
Yes,
it could if it was operating at optimal, right?
Yes, the need.
Now, the need of this whole area is?
The present demand. Is about 860 million.
860
million.
Right?
Yes.
But what is being provided currently is 700.
Yes.
So, essentially, what we are saying is that what is being provided is actually punching below by about 600 million liters.
600, like about 100.
140. Yes. Okay, I see what you mean. So what stops the provision of that 1.2 billion? I'm just imagining that you could actually provide in excess of what is actually required. What stops us from getting to that 1.2 billion?
The investments, to achieve that, we need to develop various programs, and they are phased as population grows, and is planned so that we can match population growth and demands. together with water sources development investments.
Okay, so because there are other agencies in the country, the Kenya Bureau of Statistics, which provide these numbers. They're able to make projections.
Yes.
The census is taking place. You already know by what numbers the population grows, and in particular areas over time. So well aware of what those numbers look like. So then I'm going to ask the question differently. What actually stops the implementation of those things that would make sure that in the next 5 years, 6 years, that you can actually see that there is delivery of this 1 billion? Let's not even go to 1.2. Let's say that you can now deliver comfortably 1 billion liters of water in this area that would be required. What really stops that from happening?
I believe the plans exist, but of course these are mega infrastructure.
Yes.
They cost some money. Like now we've planned in that catchment to develop Maragua Dam and and part of the Northern Corrector System Phase 2, and those are heavy capital projects. So once you look at the physical space and the availability of resources and financing, that is what is actually delaying a bit of developing additional sources. We've explored other innovative options of financing such as PPP, but we've not really cracked the issue, and we hope that in the medium term we should be able to develop such infrastructure so that we can secure water supply to the citizens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I think of many communities today, many estates. It doesn't matter, spread across, and I'm just going to use Nairobi for point of reference. That when they develop estates, everybody has an underground tank plus an overhead one for storage of water. Should that be the case?
Well, the underground one disrupts water supply pressures, but while storage at the household level is good, the underground disrupts greatly the hydraulic pressures in the pipeline and disrupts completely the water distribution plants. Why it has happened is because when the city was experiencing water supply shortages, then people had to innovate and develop storages, but we are hopeful that with the completion and operationalization of the Northern Corrector System, we should be able to secure water supply and maybe the issue of storage, because we have adequate storage reservoirs within the distribution network, maybe eased off.
Okay. I think there are very many questions about water, and I think we're going to be coming back and discussing some of those. Let's take a break at this point. Might need some refreshment, and CT has some refreshment for you.
Yes.
And because I'm going to come back and you might need to quench your thirst. CT.
Yes.
This juice, tell us.
You know, there's a company, I think for over how many years, they have actually been doing something that most people don't do. People talk of fruit juice, and you're not sure whether it's additives and just coloring and something to throw in some flavors into it. Del Monte actually package the fruit in juice form. So when you are drinking the juice, you are drinking the fruit. We were not determined whether tomato is actually a fruit or a vegetable, but nonetheless, if you're drinking this juice, you're drinking tomato. Now, for you, we are going to give you 2 juice blends, peach, and we're going to give you lychee. These juices are as natural as the fruits from which they are made, and these are for you. For being our wonderful guest.
Thank you, City. Thank you, City. Del Monte are our critical stakeholders. They are within our area, and we work with them towards facilitating some of our infrastructural developments.
Fantastic.
Yes.
With Del Monte, real is real. It's 28 minutes to 9 o'clock. We continue with our guest engineer, Joseph Kamau, and we're looking at some of these issues in terms of provision of water around the nation, looking at these particular counties and what needs to be done to ensure that it happens. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this break. Kenya's biggest conversation continues after this.
The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
New Life Prayer Center and Church chini ya Pastor Evangelist Ezekiel inakutangazia ibada kubwa ya meza ya Bwana.
Tunapokutana kwa mwili wa Yesu na damu ya Yesu, tunapeana chakula kwa yule mtu wa ndani.
Baraka za kufunga mwaka 2024, kupokea nyota, uponyaji, unabii pamoja na kufunguliwa kabisa. Ibada hii itafanyika tarehe 4 hadi tarehe 15 mwezi wa 12 2024. Mahali ni Mavueni, Mombasa nchini Kenya. Watu wa dini zote, watu wa mataifa yote mnakaribishwa.
The weather with Spice FM.
Listeners of the weather forecast, we are at it again. And let's see if there are any specific changes. Well, Nairobi has gotten warmer. It is 20 degrees Celsius and it's mostly sunny. We have water. You know, there's water everywhere, not enough to drink. Well, it applies here because we have water. We have enough water. Infrastructural development notwithstanding, or not limiting us, we have enough water to serve this entire region that belongs to the catchment area that we're talking about. And yet, despite this, there are still many areas that don't have water in their taps. And what we see is an increase in people who want to keep supplying you with water from water bowsers. I mean, that water in the bowser comes from somewhere and probably comes from the same source that the people who are waiting for it in their taps comes from. Now, explain to us the situation and tell us how it is we can possibly remedy it.
I agree there are water bowsers that are operating within the city. The water bowsers, some could be getting water from private boreholes, and gradually, because the city water network infrastructure is highly patrolled, unless they try to do illegal connections, that is fairly monitored. Why they exist is when we were facing water shortages, then at least the private sector was coming in to assist in meeting that gap. We've as a sector tried to regulate the operations of water bowsers, and even ensuring that their water quality is monitored. We've not yet gone through the operationalization of the same, but that is work in progress. We would wish that all water bowsers are regulated, and the source and the quality of water that is being distributed there is certified by a competent body. But we are optimistic that with increased water flows in the city, then the water bowsers will have to shift to other regions where maybe there would be water deficit in the near future.
Many have argued that the mere existence of these water bowsers ensures that somebody is not making sure that the water supply is optimal. Because, I mean, if I have the water bowser there and somebody's, doing business with the bowser, wouldn't I do everything that I can to ensure that my business thrives and that you don't supply the water? It's like people with generators at the generating company. If I provide generators for an entire nation, it is within my best interest to ensure that the nation does not supply power.
Because of the water supply deficit, the services provision has been through equitable water distribution, which is the rationing program. You find that maybe some areas will be supplied maybe 3 days a week, and the other days, that is why you find that the water bowsers have some space to provide water. But now with increased volumes come into the city, then the distribution scenario will change. There will be enhanced hours of water supply and enhanced days of water availability, and most likely water bowsers will not be a common
thing.
Yes.
Where do these bowsers get their water from, if I may ask?
Largely they operate from private boreholes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can we then ask the question on the borehole? What is the process of getting to actually dig a borehole and operationalize it as a private business?
And development of boreholes is also a regulated function. Is regulated by our sister organization called Water Resources Authority. You've got to do the requisite hydrogeological investigations, the environmental licensing processes, and then from there you are authorized, once you meet the necessary criteria, to develop the borehole. After that, the Water Resources Authority will authorize the quantity of water that you can abstract from the aquifers, and also it also certifies the quality of the water that is within the aquifer.
Yeah. Okay. What would it mean? Because like today, right now, at this time, if we were to drive around Nairobi, certain parts, and I'm just looking at some comments here, Langata, Karen, certain parts of Lavington, we would see the bowsers. The bowsers are driving into estates, they're offloading their water, they're going, they come back and they're getting. What would it take? And I'm sure now these numbers of people who are supplying this, getting this water supply, are not in the 85% that you talk about for Nairobi, right? What would it take to get those bowsers off the road and actually have water in the taps, in the pipes? Is it part of this other infrastructure development that you talk about? Because adjacent areas to this Karen, to this Langata, have water.
Well, the government through Athi Waterworks is doing massive infrastructural improvements in Nairobi, and we hope the water will be available within the neighborhoods. And with that, really, when water is available within estates, then the bowser has no business delivering water to various where water is available. Of course, there is issues of population growth, and really the issue of, let's say, like the way you've said, Kireshwa, Lavington, you can see the type of residents that are coming up there, massive human population growth, but we hope that we are also improving water distribution infrastructure to meet the increase in demand.
I need to ask this question, even as the county planning department and those who are involved in ensuring that infrastructural development continues, do you work closely with them? Because if, say, for instance, certain zoning regulations have changed, where previously you're only allowed to put up a structure on a certain acreage or a portion of that acreage and up to a certain height, and all that changes. Because the moment it changes, it means more people come in there. Are you part and parcel of these discussions?
Yes, in our water services improvement plans, some of the instruments that we use are the county integrated development plans and county plans. So they are critical stakeholders in whatever we are doing. So we are in collaboration with the county and other stakeholders as these issues move. Of course, the planning scenario, like now we have a master plan that takes us up to 2035. We are now in the stage of reviewing in line with the existing circumstances to realign, and this was then when we were planning. This is the current circumstances, and how do we move forward? So, but the instruments or the planning instruments are available, are applicable, and we always consult with all stakeholders. We don't leave anyone behind.
if you were to give a timeline in terms of, and I'm still going back to, piped water, open the tap, water comes out of it in a house. And it doesn't matter what level we're talking about, whatever kind of housing that is supplied directly from the agency. What would that look like in terms of time? By this year, all houses in Nairobi County, in Kiambu County, in this tribe, this vortex of counties, will have, in the metropolitan area, will have water out of their taps. Is that aspirational or reality at some point?
That is, we have our plan assumes that by 2027, the whole metropolitan region water services will reach 85% household coverage. But of course, it calls for huge investments in development of programs. And that is what we are working with various stakeholders, development partners, government agencies, and all that to facilitate development of such infrastructure. And we hope that within that period, we should be able to do a lot of work and ensure that water is, a lot of people are actually getting clean, potable water at household level.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you talk about the supply of water and the adequacy of the supply, does the infrastructure and the plans to ensure the availability of water, does it precede the development or does it follow the development?
It should. Right now, what we do is, we look at the existing plans and plan with whatever is existing. But you find that now people are settling even areas that when we were planning were not settled. So it's like infrastructure is following development. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So obviously, a lot of these things, they're hinged on money. At the end of the day, funds that can come, because like you said, the plans are there. There's a 2035 plan. The plans are there. On paper, they're there. The experts, the engineers, they've put it together and said, this is what we need in order to run these, this area in this manner as concerns the delivery of water. What would the overall body, who is then tasked with the responsibility to ensure that these things happen, say to you when you come and you say we're at 85%, and even that 85% sometimes dips below? What is the response to say, make sure that we have filled in that gap for you, or is there one at all?
Yes, we are working on various aspects. One of them is ensuring that efficient operations of all utilities, so that really there is no water wastage. We are also looking at ways of how do we develop efficient infrastructure, so that and also what are the means that we can develop, we can finance certain infrastructural investments, so that water can become available. But with the Northern Corrector now in operation, we should be able to witness increased flows and reliability to various areas and residents within this region.
Okay. So when we say that there is no water available, we're not saying that there's no water available. We're saying that the problem is that the infrastructure that is needed to supply the available water is what is non-existent. So oftentimes we ask ourselves this question and we say, okay, we say that there's a water problem, whether we're talking about it for agriculture or whether we're talking about it for storage and for use, and we say, but then times come where there are things like floods that are currently happening, in some areas. And so we ask ourselves the question, is it possible, or is there a plan for the infrastructure, where this water can be stored and then can be used for piped usage? Are those conversations ones that actually happen, or are we being minimal in our thinking?
No, the thinking is correct. Actually, what we do in even in the Aberdare is harvesting of floods. All those dams that are operating, their business is to harvest excessive floods. It's only that now the water that is the floods that are occurring within the water tower is quite clean. But if you come and harvest the floods in Nairobi, then the quality becomes an issue. Okay. So that is why we are operating within the catchment.
Do we have sufficient structures to capture this flow of water?
They are not adequate. That is what we are saying, that we need to develop them. Yeah.
And what's hindering the development?
It's the
usual things.
It's money.
The usual things. Yeah.
The usual things.
Yeah.
You know, I asked the question, and where's this money supposed to come from? Is it the national government or county government?
Well, it's the both levels of government can work together, but us is a national government agency, so we rely with the national government stakeholders.
But again, it brings us to the planning of how it is we deal with the situation, which means you have a plan as to how many of these dams we need to have, the capacity that is needed there,
yes,
and even planning with a view to the population increase and what have you, where they should be situated. Would you say we're on track?
We are a bit off track. We are making progress, but we are off the track a bit. We've developed various schemes, but we need to accelerate, especially the issues of development of dams. Yeah, is critical that critical dams are developed so that we can secure water.
Who do we need to talk to so that they can understand this? I'm saying this because when you hear of the problems we have with the supply of water, not the availability of it, just the supply of it, and then you realize the capacity of water that we can harvest and what we can do with it. I go back to statutes that I knew and read about, which was closely tied in with the development, infrastructural development of housing units. And it was mandatory that any such unit must have gutters. It must have a tank. Meaning, any structure that was put up, it was a must for you to be able to demonstrate how you are going to store water or how you are going to harvest water. Do those statutes still exist? And if they do, are they still implemented?
The issue of rainwater harvesting at a household level is when we were working around it to try to see whether it can be enhanced. But historically, Nairobi City and neighboring, that wasn't the policy because water used to be in adequate quantities. So we were relying on municipal systems, and in where water is actually adequately available, storage at the household level is not a major issue. Yeah.
You see, what I find interesting is in the rural areas, people know how to harvest water, and they do.
Yes.
For all their use.
Oh, yes, they do. They do.
Yeah.
They know that when it rains, this is a commodity that is in your interest to harvest, and they do so. What I'm actually leading to is asking if there is a government plan to enhance these, because to enhance these processes, why we see a lot of water going to waste.
Yes, at the rural areas, even as we are supporting rural communities with rainwater harvesting.
Yes.
Especially public institutions, we provide them with the all infrastructure to collect and store for use. So it's happening. It's happening, but within the city, it's on a very reduced scale because of the nature of settlements.
You know, when I talk of wastage, I'm thinking of a vision I once had. I was flying to Lamu. I had a friend who had one of these single-engine planes.
Yeah.
And because it's slow as far as planes go, so you can see a lot. And you are in the end, you look down, and then you see this orangish-brown thing snaking. And you think, oh, that must be a river. but rivers are not orangish-brown.
No.
It means it's carrying with it soil to the Indian Ocean. Okay? So when the water isn't harvested adequately or the plan to ensure that you do what you need to it so that it is utilized sufficiently, it causes other damage. It actually reduces the value of the soil that you actually have, and that in and of itself, produces other problems that ordinarily we didn't have. So when I look at, for instance, right now, when we talk of water, we're talking of water in terms of the damage it's causing. We're talking of water in terms of the people who are displaced, the people who are dying as a result of it. Would you say that if we were cognizant and took adequate care in ensuring that we implemented the water policy? I'm saying this because I know we have very serious water policies, that some of these things would actually not occur.
The water policy and the water development plans have all those mega dams, and for implementation within various time periods. So in the fullness of time, those investments will be in place, and maybe perhaps control and provide water to the citizens. So it's doable. It will be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even as we look at, going towards development, and I know there are many things that are happening. There are cities that are being built out where development is still taking place. There's a whole Kenya development plan. There's a whole, there are county development, just like you said, there are county development plans, all of this. And that there's data that is developed, information that has been gathered to help this development, that would aid in this development. How does the agency fit into the bigger picture to say, will there be a time whereby, okay, Nairobi done and dusted, Kiambu done and dusted, this vortex done, we can now move our expertise to other parts of the country?
We are part and parcel of all those government interventions, and we use all those reports, the Bureau of Statistics report, census data, in our planning scheme of things. Population is growing, so we've got to move with trades such that as population grows, we are able to provide them with water. Nairobi metropolis is also growing, so the demand is increasing as we talk, and that is the mandate that we have to continue ensuring that as rapid urbanization happens, also water supply to the citizens is enhanced. So we see that we have a lot to do. And that is the mandate that we've been assigned by the government.
There's a question that has been asked by one of our very avid listeners from our embassy in France. Her name is Maina. She asked the question, how do we ensure that the aquifers that we have here are replenished? And what do we do to avoid what may be sinkholes in the future? That is supposed to be one question. I mean, it sounds like two questions to me.
We can go with that.
Then the other question is, are we able to directly drink the water in our taps?
Yes, I start with that last one. Our water at the tap is of very good quality. Is suitable for drinking.
Fall sick,
you won't fall sick.
Look for
you can't fall sick. Yes, you can't fall sick. And it's of good quality, and that you are assured, and that is why you find that there are no incidences of prevalent waterborne diseases in Nairobi. The city water is of very high quality.
Okay.
Yeah. And the aquifer, I think the embassy official, I think we are working a lot with the French Development Agency on water supply management. And one of the aspects that we are studying is the issue of aquifer management, groundwater, as a potential water source for the future. And that is to inform how do we conserve groundwater to ensure that in future it is available and for sustainable exploitation
for everyone. Thank you so much. I think it's interesting, but I think it's also necessary for us to keep checking in to make sure when this is actually a system that works. Engineer Joseph Kamau is the CEO of the Athi Water Development Agency, or Water Works Development Agency. Thank you so much for being here this morning in the Situation Room.